Hey guys, I bought a car wash. Well, actually, I own 2 car washes. They've been absolutely phenomenal businesses to own. Like in this video, I am not washing the cars here. I'm just essentially going through a normal day process collecting money from my business. So in this video, I want to go over the methods, starting with the easiest method on how you can get a car wash this year. Now, truth be told, the earlier methods are going to be the easiest, but they're also going to require money out of pocket. Then we're going to go later in the video and talk about how could you get your very first car wash with low money down or even no money down. I'm going to hold no punches here and go through and give you all the tips and tricks that you can use to get a car wash this year. Now, we're starting the segment off with me collecting money because getting the money is the goal. And to make that money, you need to find a location to purchase. The problem with the car wash industry, just like a lot of other ones, people think that you can go on realtor.com, BizBuySell, or some website on the internet and shop around and find yourself a great deal. The reality is there's a lot of investors out there that are going to compete with you, people that have an inheritance, a lot of money, and they will typically snatch up any good deals on car washes that are easily purchasable on the market. So in order to get yourself a car wash deal, you've got to go straight to the horse's mouth, meaning finding the owners. A lot of people don't want to do this. I get it. You have to go out, find people, talk to them, but it's where all of the real money is going to be made. You're watching my quarters here. Truth be told, 70% of my income comes from credit cards. Super great to run this business, but like a lot of businesses, not everything is as it seems. So putting all the work in yourself to find a great location is going to pay huge money once you close on it. Some business brokers might inflate the value of a business by 200 or 300%. They simply don't care whether you're buying a profitable location. Their incentive is to just get it sold. Whether you make money or not after the sale is of no concern to them. This is an unfortunate fact. Building up a system to go and contact car wash owners is probably one of the most critical things beyond the financing, which we'll get to next. So how do you find a list of car washes? Just get on Google, Facebook, stop at the local car washes, talk to the owners, see if they have any interest of selling, see if they have ever thought of doing that. The worst they can say is no. The best they can say is sure. And for the ones that say no, realistically, they're saying no for now. The average car wash sells every 7 years. So if you can get in front of 7 car wash owners, one of them is statistically going to sell it this year. And for the ones that don't want to sell in 10 years, you need to be their friend because at some point you're going to have to learn to work on equipment and how the car wash business actually works beyond watching videos on social media. This is not the first time I've had to dump trash at my car wash. Totally worth it, but it's something that you have to do. Now, beyond being born rich with lots of cash on hand, you're going to have to find a way to come up with the average of $350,000 it takes to buy a car wash. Now, on the easiest end of the spectrum when it comes to financing a car wash would be to go to a local community-owned bank, a bank with about $5 billion less in assets. I'll include a link to a local community-based bank finder in the video description below and seeing what kind of loan program they'll offer you. Most of the ones in my community will allow me to purchase a average car wash, a $350,000 car wash with $70,000 down. Now, you do need average credit, but local banks a lot of times will look past a lack of credit. So like if you don't do the credit card thing and have 5 credit cards that you pay off at the end of the month and don't have a 700 credit score, small banks won't care. They just want to see the down payment and they want to be able to make sure that the business makes some level of money. They don't always need to see super profitable tax returns, which we'll talk about those tax returns in a second. The next financing method is similar to banks, but you're actually getting a government guaranteed loan program. This could be the SBA 7A if there's not real estate included, or the SBA 504 series. These are both government programs that will loan money to average Americans to purchase their first business or any business, so long as it's under $5 million total, which is a car wash that should be making no less than $1 million a year. The upside with government money is the fact that, unlike banks, the SBA will allow you to go to 5 or 10% down to purchase your car wash. So that $350,000 car wash, you only need between $17,500 and $35,000 to purchase. And with the 504 series, the interest rates are pretty good. The 7A isn't as good, but there's a major downside to SBA financing. It's the paperwork. There's a lot of paperwork. And on top of it, if your car wash owner is not reporting all of their income properly to the IRS via tax returns, or the car wash just is not making much money, then you're just not going to get a loan for it. The SBA has a 97% success rate on car wash loans. So the car wash has to fit in their budget or their schedule of financial affordability. They want to make sure that you're going to make money in the program, because if you make money, they get paid. I've got a few SBA lenders that I work with, so I'll post a link in the description if you can't find one, but generally speaking, there's a lot of SBA lenders on Google. It's a standardized government program, so one isn't going to be significantly better than another, but I also find there's some people running scams out there where they say they can get you SBA money, then they make you pony up a $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 fee, and they run off. As a note here, I paid $16,000 in fees to recently acquire $4.4 million in SBA funding. So be careful when you find companies online. So the next method is by far my absolute favorite thing to do in the whole entire world, and that's to turn your seller into the bank. A lot of times, or at least some of the times, the seller might be fudging on their tax returns a little bit. They might not be able to show profit on paper, but trust me, bro, they say this location makes money. You can quantify the sales activities through Google reviews, water reports, sitting and watching the car sales to kind of confirm that what they're saying is at least somewhat true. In these situations, turning your seller into the bank, turning it into like a retirement program for them could be the ticket to get your car wash. Now, the upside with this is it is what you negotiate. I've got a friend, his name's Casey, he's in Arkansas. He acquired 2 locations with legitimately no money down. They weren't very profitable, but he wanted his own business. So for $3,000 a month, he turned the seller into the bank. Now, I will say, to be honest with you, these deals are getting harder and harder to find. For better or worse, I've talked about this on social media. Cody Sanchez has talked about this along with a lot of other finance influencers. There's so many businesses out there where the owner never planned for retirement. They're kind of getting pinched and need to seller finance a property. And if you can build up a good relationship with them and show them how they're going to make even more money, maybe through tax benefits or whatnot, through seller financing a location, you can get them fully seller financed. And the best thing about seller financing is it's all going to be dependent on what you actually negotiate with the seller. I've seen people do no money down, no credit check, no interest loans, which you would think are impossible in this day and age with mortgage rates being as high as they are. It literally is going to be what kind of relationship can you form with the seller to strike a deal. This is why I also want you to be friends with every car wash owner in your general vicinity. You need to be able to talk car wash to people. No one in their right mind is going to finance a profitable business to somebody that doesn't know anything. But I'll say this, I have no professional car wash experience, yet I'm doing great and able to make good money off this location. Before I started, I didn't know how to fix a single thing. Now I can fix a lot of things. And I'm also finding more car washes that will be mostly seller carried. The sellers are just ready to get rid of them, and I'm ready to buy. Now, earlier in the video, I mentioned that you need to talk to 7 car wash owners in order to find a location that's going to sell this year. To be honest with you, I would estimate that maybe between 5 and 10% of sellers will consider seller financing. The chance gets higher if you have an ability to talk to them well. And the only way to talk to somebody well in the world of sales and car washes is to get out there and do it. Not to hire a broker, not to hire somebody to find the deal for you, but to get out there and do it yourself. There's never going to be a free ride in business, so don't pretend like somebody's going to give you the one first off. I've seen it happen, but it's statistically very rare. But I'm also fully convinced if you learn to talk to people and talk to enough car wash owners, you'll get a deal. Now, the next method is very similar to the seller financing. This is where you simply are going to ask the owner of a car wash, can you lease it out? Some sellers don't want to sell it to you on payments as far as a mortgage goes. They'd like to just lease it to you. I find this is a very easy conversation to have with a car wash owner. Most people understand how leasing works. You can also work a buyout option in so that in X amount of years you have the option to buy it for a set price, or it could be a floating price. With full seller financing, where they truly become the bank, some states have stipulations on the legality of that. However, I'm not aware of any state in the United States that limits who can lease property. So it's a wide open opportunity, whether you're in California, Ohio like me, Florida, or wherever. It's a strategy that works almost anywhere, and it's an easier conversation to have, especially if you can't talk out the details of seller financing with an owner. I've master leased several properties in my career for all total of $250. Absolutely incredible deals. And in those specific deals, they just signed the mortgage over to me. It was hugely advantageous. The next strategy I don't talk about a lot because it's technically difficult, but I don't want you to think it's impossible. And that's to go out and just find an investor that will bankroll your ideas and dreams. The thing is, an investor can help you fund a bank, a seller finance note, a lease, or an SBA loan, or they could just give you 100% of the money. And from my standpoint, finding an investor is not nearly as hard as people make it out to be. A lot of people don't know that there are investment clubs all across the United States that you can participate in, typically very cheaply, that have tons of investors. My local club probably has a dozen different investors that will either fund or help participate in deals. In my mind, the best club that you can join is your local real estate investor association, also called an REIA. My local club is $60 a year, and you can attend the first few meetings totally for free. But I will warn you, don't go to your local club to only pitch investments immediately. You'll need to sit down, talk to people, understand what they're about, and then as time goes on, see who will actually loan people money. It took me a year, then I found out who loans people money and what their terms are, and what kind of properties or investments they like to go after. So now let's spend a moment and recap the different types of financing we've gone over. We'll start off with SBA financing, of which this year alone I've done over $4 million with. You can lend easily up to 95%, in a few cases 100% down for your business. Sometimes they don't like real estate being involved, so you might need to lease the premises. You have to have good tax returns for your sellers. You need some level of credit, and my loan documentation was over 400 pages. Another thing, I'm also paying over 10% with my loan. If interest rates go down soon, that rate will drop significantly. Next off is simply leasing the car wash. It's easier to negotiate than seller finance. You can negotiate back and forth with the current owner of the car wash for potentially great terms, and you can buy it after the lease is over or even during it. But having good terms is a two-way street. You could get screwed if you don't read over the contract very well. Some sellers might treat you as a gold mine and then kick you out in 10 years and take over your car wash. While it's easier to negotiate than full seller finance, not everybody's going to agree to it. Next is partial or full seller finance. Your current car wash owner could finance part of your down payment for a bank or the SBA, or even partial with an investor. The sky's the limit as long as you learn to talk to the bank. Very few sellers will fully seller finance it, but I found that more and more, if you learn to negotiate well, sellers will carry at least a little part of it, thus opening up the doors to any of the other finance methods. Next up is a traditional or conventional bank. I don't know if you guys know it, but I generally hate banks, and I have found out it's been a wrong decision for me to hate them as much as I have. Some banks out there are phenomenal. The problem is you have to spend a lot of time finding them. But a good banking partner is truly worth its weight in gold. Don't tell them I said this, but some banks out there will let you finance 100% of the acquisition cost. You have to go through 30 or 40 banks to find one, but it can be done. Last but not least, you could always find an investor for your car wash, and they could pony up down payment money or the full thing. It just takes effort to find them, and the best way to find one is to look locally. Go to investment clubs, charitable organizations, networking groups. You'll be shocked at how many people are out there with money. Lots of money to invest. I promise, if you learn to put these financial tools in your financial toolbox, you can get a deal in the next 6 months. Now, you have a car wash. What are you going to do with it? I truly love my car washes, but it was a struggle the first year we were up and running. We had a guy ram our car wash. We've had backed up sewers. All sorts of equipment has broken down. It's been a struggle at times, but it's totally been worth it. And something I don't want to do is put out a YouTube video like this and say, oh, that's easy, I could do it, without any effort after the fact. I think the average person that's out there that really wants a car wash can get a car wash, but it will require a lot of effort, just not on the financing side, just not on the acquisition side. But you have to be the kind of person that's willing to learn, that's also flexible, and doesn't have a problem going out and getting knowledge, not just from watching YouTube videos, but going out and learning to talk to other car wash operators and network with them to see how would I fix a piece of equipment should it break. Now, there's all sorts of great Facebook groups, car wash forums, and things of that nature that can teach you a lot about fixing equipment. But on top of that, you are going to have to learn other valuable skills. Financing is one of them, but what about the banking aspect of it? Do you know how to track expenses and the cash coming in? It should be obvious by this point, a lot of sellers unfortunately hide cash from the IRS, and it kills them on the other side when it comes time to sell. That's why it's easy to get a car wash deal, in my mind, that can make a lot of money. You will need to learn to work on equipment or to learn to hire the right people to do it. As a great example, taking out the trash on a consistent basis was a struggle for the old owner with our company of our car washes. He just couldn't find good, reliable people to get it done. It took us about a year to find a group of people that would do it right, but now we pay an affordable rate and it works out very well for us. We found out the hard way that older, retired people that just want to have something to do every day are wonderful, but you have to go out and search for them. You're also going to have to learn to make strategic upgrades and be careful with the money coming in. Every car wash owner is absolutely faced with the choice of, do I reinvest money in this location or do I put it in my pocket? And only you will be the person that can make that hard choice. Believe me, I would love to take a couple giant bags of quarters away from the car wash, not tell the IRS about them, and just put them in my pocket, even though they're really heavy. But for the past 3 years, we've reinvested most of the income coming in, and now we're at a phenomenal point. We're making great money. But I don't want you to be misled that your first day, your first week, your first month, even your first year is going to be just wild successes. Of course, there are people out there in their first year, they find a fully seller financed car wash, they're able to get it with no money out of pocket, and they just absolutely crush it. But that's not the normal situation. But if you're good at learning fast, you can do so well with the car wash industry and go out and get more businesses. If you decide that you've watched this video and you'd like some help with a car wash acquisition, check the links below. I have a great car wash boot camp that will help get you started. It's kind of like the video you've watched here. It's a longer, more in-depth version of this video. It's right around 3 hours long. And if you have any quick questions I can answer, just post them in the comments below, and I'll make sure to respond to every comment for the first 2 or 3 days. After that point, I will try to respond to comments. Try being a key word. Thank you so much for watching the entirety of this video. I appreciate every single one of you, and if I can do it, you can do it. I promise. This is Brandon with Investment Joy.